Welcome back to another edition of Her Love and His Peace. For those of you that don't know, we are in a distance relationship, and we are inviting you to some of our daily conversations that we have. And we talk about love, life, and relationships in the modern time. I'm, of course, the spoiler,
And I'm Yummy,
and I am her love.
and I am his peace.
Today, I didn't think I was going to record today. I know it's been a few weeks, and I decided to just push through it like a job. Um, to give an example of what I call blue days, uh, but they in the mental health realm or science realm or however it goes, they may call it winter blues or seasonal depression or terms like that. I just call them blue days because for most of my adult life, I never really understood what was going on with me.
Mhm,
And I know there's a lot of people that is affected by it because they do study it. And that's why there's so many terms for it because they study it in different realms of mental health, physical health, and things of that nature.
mhm,
So a good portion of my life, I never understood when, what, when, why, how, and even now, almost being 6 years old, I still don't understand the why. I just deal with the occurrence. And my whole point of kind of recording today is to one, let people know that it is real. It is not something that uh, people are just making up. Two, you're not by yourself. There's a lot of people that are affected by it because that's why they study it, because they know it's a lot of people that are affected by it. How many, I don't know. Um, and there's a lot of people that don't understand what they're going through. And so I'll tell you how it affects me, and then hopefully it'll give a little broader spectrum to somebody that has a child, doesn't understand, or has a spouse that does, and they don't understand what they're going through. And I've been in all those situations. So I'm the child that had blue days. As a kid, I played just like everybody else and whatnot, but there were time periods where I didn't want to be bothered with anyone. I stayed in my room, stayed to myself, and didn't want to interact with the world. And wasn't depressed like wanting to kill myself or anything like that. I just wanted to be by myself. The thing about it was is that it would hit out of nowhere and it still hits out of nowhere. I'm just now trying. I've tracked it to a point to where it only seems seasonal because the seasons change and it seems like it's seasonal. But with me, it's not seasonal. It doesn't change with the season. It just comes out of nowhere. And that's the hard thing about trying to track it. And so as you grow and be an adult, it's hard to track it because you're so entangled with everything. And the one thing I say is my mom and dad had no clue to what they were dealing with or what they seen or any of this. So it's hard to deal with something, especially in those times. We're talking the late 60s
Mm-hmm.
into the 70s. They have no clue as what they're dealing with me as in that part of the personality. So you start to get the labels of just being shy and yeah, I'm a shy and introvert and things. Yeah, I'm all those things.
Mm-hmm.
This is different from that. This is not just a introvert shy type thing. This is different from that. And a lot of people will say, well, no, it's just in your head. Yes, it's in your head. And
Yeah,
it's real. It
it is.
lives.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
it does.
Because if it isn't real, then how can I track the moments of it happening if it's not real?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I know how I interacted as an adult and as a kid, because when it's blue days and the world forces you to interact with it, because it does,
It does.
right? You get the angry man syndrome, and in my case, the angry black man syndrome.
Yeah.
You're forced to interact with this thing, even though you're personally going through the blue days. You have no choice.
You're right.
Right? I don't have
Right.
mega money, so I can just sit at home in my room and and do whatever. So it's a real thing. And as I look back over time, that is where a lot of the anger as a child and as an adult came from. Being angry because I have to go and interact with these people and I don't want to, because I am going through my own thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm forced to show up. And that
Right.
caused a lot of the anger. These days, the anger part is not as prevalent because I've learned to kind of live with it, not kind of live with it, but to live with it and to, at some point, especially with working that job, I had to make sure that I don't take that out on people,
Right.
because they are no way the catalyst of anything. They didn't do anything to me, and so I was aware enough, probably in my early 20s, I became really aware enough to not take that out on people. And some people made that fucking hard too. That became a thing. But so people say, well, what triggers it? What happened? I don't know. I'm almost 60 years old now. I don't know. You can be now. I'm not the happiest go lucky person around. I've been told that. I don't have the happiest disposition around, right?
Right.
But when it hits you, I get a overwhelming kind of sadness type thing going, and I just want to be left alone uh, because I don't want to try to, I don't want to be angry and take that out on people, and it really doesn't cause anger in the sense that you want to lash out on the world. It's more of an anger that you have to just deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
So as I've gotten older, I have kind of tried to build in safety mechanisms, or as I call them, to make sure I minimize my interaction with the rest of the world when it does hit, just like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's mild, and I'm tracking it by day using like the fitness app.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to track it now electronically to kind of get a sense of where I'm at day by day. For me, it's a year-round thing. There's days where I'm definitely better than others, and just like within the last 2 weeks, it was just a meltdown city, not pretty to watch.
Yeah.
So part of the thing in the app, it asks you about your mood and where you are, how you feel, pleasant, unpleasant, that kind of has that kind of slider
Okay.
where it goes from very unpleasant to pleasant. And then
Okay.
in between, most days I'm in a indifferent type of state. I'm not happy. I'm not sad.
Okay.
That's me as a general personality day to day for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. Um, I guess because I'm very unexcited about the world, for me to be just truly elated, it 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 takes a bit. You know, I can remember retiring from that job, and because it was a turbulent time of when I retirement, there was absolutely nothing to celebrate for me.
Right.
You know, and anybody that retires from any kind of campaign or any job or any situation where they've been there and spent a good portion of their life with us, that's a
Yeah.
major accomplishment, good, bad, or indifferent. And it should be, um, to me, celebrated as a
It
major accomplishment.
should
Now,
be.
I took it as a major accomplishment and understood what it took to get there and was appreciative of the fact of me staying in there like that. I really understood that and what that meant, because I had to tell somebody else that was retiring, you know, I don't give a fuck what nobody said. That's a major fucking accomplishment in your life,
It is.
because you spent 25 years of your life to dedicate it to that cause. Some
Yeah.
days are better than others, and some days are just fucking horrible. But the fact that you made it to the end goal, you know, that's a major accomplishment.
It is.
And I truly believe that. But because of everything else that was going on, it was a day that was very neutral,
Okay.
right? It was very neutral. And uh, I definitely wasn't sad, but I wasn't, you know, ready to throw the party parade either. I just wanted to be left alone. And that day too, I was in that kind of state of mind of a blue day. And really, if it wasn't been for all the paperwork that I had to do and all that shit and this, that, and the other, I would have stayed at home. mail me whatever you need to mail me and then
Right.
call it a fucking day.
Right.
So the thing about it, so people say, well, what kind of thing happens? I can usually feel it coming on. Um, I can go from times so I can be it can and I can be anywhere. I remember it happened to me. We was on a guy's trip in St. Louis. We were in a shoe store, and it's 4 or 5 of us. No, it was about 5 or 6 of us. And guys trip, and we just listen, we went to a shoe store just be doing some stuff, and everybody's laughing, joking, this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah. And I'm sitting in the shoe store, and boom, it hit.
Hmm.
And one of my good friends, even to this day, he said, "Man, you all right? It shifted." He said, "You shifted like that." He said, "I saw it." I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Y'all do y'all think I'm gonna just sit over here and just chill out, right?"
Hmm.
And and that was one of the times where I can pinpoint it shifting right there, and somebody else saw it,
Okay.
right? There
Yes.
was absolutely nothing going on but a good time.
Yes.
So I can't say that you know something triggered it. We just in that whole weekend was nothing but a good time, you know,
Right.
and that's how it goes, you know. Um, Now I don't know about other people because I could only imagine if I was a female and now I had the hormonal thing going on. That would probably amplify everything to a whole nother level,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So so like I said, from a child, I've been this way. So if you're a parent in the 60s and 70s and you got a kid like this, what do you do? you know, Especially we're, inner city parents, we're not, people with tons of money and you can go to all kinds of shrinks and this, that, and the other. And I'm glad we probably didn't because nowadays they wouldn't do nothing but prescribe you medication anyway.
Medication. Yes.
Right. And I'm not going to mock science in that rate because science have taken the human to a lot of heights.
Yes, it has.
But I know of side effects of some of those medications can also make the situation as good as it might start off can make things worse. And that's where a lot of people turn to the other things with drugs, alcohol, and all kinds of odd behaviors trying to make themselves feel good,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And and I think I've done that with certain things like riding motorcycles and guns and everything else, never to be a danger to anyone else, but you're just trying to make yourself feel better, right?
Right.
So you take up different hobbies and different things to try to take your mind off of things and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
The problem is now none of that works.
No, it doesn't.
So now what do? You know, and it's kind of a thing of if you're suffering from any of these things, you have to be careful of the things you let yourself get into with trying to feel better. Even something simple as retail therapy can get you in trouble.
Yes,
And
it
people
can.
say, well, what's wrong with buying a little this and a little that if it's going to make you feel better? One, it's a very temporary high. It probably lose it from the time you get from the store to the time you get home. That high is gone, right? Two, it
Yes.
causes anxiety of the whole thing about debt and this, that, and the other. I know people who use that retail therapy thing as their way of trying to get around their depressions and things, and it causes hoarding, debt, and a lot of confusion because they just don't understand. And if they have a significant other in any way, that person usually can't understand it. Only thing they see is why we got all these clothes in here with tags on them.
Right.
Why do we got 10,000 pair of shoes that haven't been worn? No, the kids don't need all that shit. You know, why you keep buying these cars? you know, it,
It's
and you're right. And 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 that's fine if you're buying and selling, but you're buying and compiling, you know, it's just not healthy. That's where sometimes you see these people who have high powered jobs or jobs that are significant, and you go into their office and it's a mess. You know, everything's just all over the place. And you're wondering
organization.
how it is they function. Right.
Right. Right.
You go into the house and you're like, how? And I remember going into houses. I've been in several houses to where there's just been trails you follow to the bedroom and the bathroom,
Yeah.
and there's stuff piled up taller than me. And I'm 5'7", 5'8", depending on what day, you know.
Right.
And there's shit piled up all the way. I went in this one house, and you come through the door. Once you leave the little area where the door was in that closet, you're greeted by this big stack of mail just piled up. And then there was a trail that led to the chair where the guy sat. There was another trail that went to the dining room where shit was just piled up all over the place. And then there's a trail that leads to the kitchen and the bedrooms and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's like,
Right?
how do you function in this?
How do you function? This? And this was a married couple. And we were there for him, but I tell you, I don't know which one of them was,
The,
or if it
the
was just a combination of, I mean, wow, it was just wild. It was very wild. But I've been in several places like that, and I'm wondering how many of those people. I know a lot of those people suffer from depression and things of that nature, and there's a whole lifetime of stuff that people go through. Um, and yeah, I've got the junkie syndrome too, but not to that degree.
right.
That instantly when you walk in, you go, okay, you know. So how it starts is I don't know no catalyst. I don't know any out of the blue it starts. This time I could feel it coming.
Okay.
So some of the things I do that I think that help get through it is one of my things I used to do all the time was work out.
Okay.
I used to work out all the time, and to the point to where I had a gym access in my basement, treadmill, weights, the whole 9 yards, and I would always make sure I had decent gym equipment so I could just roll out the bed and go. Didn't have to worry about people and this, that, and the other, or something I missed. Just having that gym right there and accessible. I can get on the treadmill, walk in, and I didn't have to have this huge workout, just enough to just kind of get through things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that I did, and still do to this day. I just don't do it to the magnitude in it, because I got into really working out early and stuff, and I think those things kind of help, and that's why I continue to work out to this day. I just don't do it to the magnitude that I did back then, because back then you know it was all about being swole. So nowadays, what I do, I remember the last month or so, I've been using caffeine. So when this thing hit, I instantly cut off the caffeine stimulant, you know. But I've been trying out a new coffee. I've been on coffee for a while, and I've been trying a new coffee that is not as heavily chemically processed. And so I got off the caffeine, went to teas that have a lower level of caffeine.
Okay.
The other thing that I do that I think that helps is I increase the vitamin D
Okay.
and try to increase the vitamin D. And we're lucky at Wisconsin right now. We've got some decent weather for the last couple of days, and you see them sleeveless. So it's sunny outside. I actually went out where I would normally go for a motorcycle ride, and I'm not even motivated to do that anymore. Um, I just jumped in a truck and took a quick drive down the street to the store. Um, but I went sleeveless to get
Okay.
the vitamin D in.
Okay.
Um, and put all the windows down and just to get some air, get some sun. And I think that helps. Another thing that I do that helps, but in the wintertime,